It's a great schus to talk about the union of not talking in shul during the tefillah. And the reason I feel it's a schus because it's also machayev. I'm not I would not say that I'm the most perfect and far from the most perfect in that essence, but having been asked to speak and to be mechazik others about the power of tefillah, the importance of concentrating on your siddur, the Rabbeinu Shalom, and the tefillahs, I think that I'll improve my own davening and make sure that I have to be careful and watch that I daven properly. So I was thinking just about this week's parasha, Parashas Noach. There's an interesting medrash that tells us that Noach, when he was stuck in the teva, he davened, "Hoitzia mi mazger nafshi," he get me out of here, and he davened. And in fact, the lashon of the pasuk, a few times it says "Vayochel Yeshivas Yomam Acherim" or "Vayochel Noach Vayiyochel," and Rashi grapples. Rashi with the word, he says lashon hamtana, but the word "Vayochel" also sounds like "Vayichal." Also, there's a remez to tefillah Vayichal. And I was thinking as follows: in Parshas Bereshis, it talks about that. It says "V'chosiach asorat heren titzmach." It's not the exact word because I'm not looking inside, but the Adam ayin la'avodas Adam. There was no man, and Rashi tells us that the Adam ayin, there was no man to daven. The Rebbeinu Shalom waited for a person to daven. HaKadosh Baruch Hu misavel tfiloson shel tzadikim. So here he is, man, and there was a generation of man, and the tachlis that the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted is that he should daven. And now man is destroyed. Man is destroyed. Where are those people left to daven? It reminds me of a story that I heard, Shemer Blazer Silver, that he was on a train going from the concentration camps to bring the people to the DP camps, where they would be able to stay until they would find a place to permanently live, whether in the United States or in Eretz Yisrael. And there obviously were people who were shemri mitzvahs on the train, and they decided that during the trip they had to make a minyan for Mincha and Ma'ariv. So Rabbi Blazer Silver was with them on the train, and he was asking people, "You'll join us for a minyan, you'll join us for a minyan." And one of the fellows said, "I'm not joining you for a minyan, I'm not davening to that Rabbeinu Shalom, we did all this and that, and unfortunately I don't have to go through the harangue that Nebuchadnezzar, a person going through such sorrows, would say." So he left them alone, and he went on, and they made the minyan. And the next day, when they were traveling, the Rav Blazer Silver was going on, and he asked minyan, and the guy said, "I want to daven." He says, "But what happened yesterday? Yesterday you said no, today you want to daven all of a sudden?" He said, "I thought about it." He said, "The Rebbeinu Shalom lost so many people to daven during the war. How could I forsake him?" And I was thinking to myself, the Rabbeinu Shalom, Noach saw, the Rabbeinu Shalom lost so many people who had the ability to daven. The Rabbeinu Shalom lost so many people that had the ability to daven. Vayochel Noach, Hoitzim mazgen nafshi. The Rabbeinu Shalom waits for our tefillas. People in all the movements, whether it's Project Inspire, Eishat Torah, Kira, talk about all the Yidden that are lost to assimilation. But there's so many more people lost to davening. Even from Yidden, we're not davening properly. Everybody has to take upon himself, Rabbeinu Shalom. There's so few people who are davening to you. Imagine, I'm being mechazik my tefillas to bring Kvod Shemayim, to make a nachas ruach for you, that you want to hear my tefillas. That's an inspiration to think about every time we see somebody who's not davening properly, we have to mechazik ourselves. And I believe that when people see how we daven, if we really believe in it ourselves, then we'll inspire others. I was always thinking, imagine when Noach made a dinner, Yeshivas Tevas Noach, and 6 people showed up, 8 people showed up to the dinner. He worked on it 120 years. When an executive, that nobody came. Why is that? My good friend Shimshi Sherer told me once a story about a town that had a drought. And the Rav said, after fasting, after davening, that they're all going to go to the field, and they're going to daven. It's a mile away. It's a dry, parched field. They're going to daven. He promises them that if they daven b'kavana, it's going to pour. And they said, really? And he said, yes, I promise you. If you daven b'kavana and you believe and you have the emunah, it's going to pour. So they went out to the field, and they're walking a mile away, and it's part, and the sand, this dust is there, and it's so dry. And he's the Tillim, but they scream, and they shout, and they yell. And after they close the city, they ask, Rav, where's the rain? He said, do you believe? So of course we believe. He said, do you believe? Of course you believe. He said, we're a mile away from home. Nobody brought an umbrella. Chazal say, Miktani emona mayim v'ein mayim. Maybe that's why he couldn't bring. He had this little doubt of faith. Rabbi say, with emunah shlema, we can bring our tefillas to Shemayim and bring the Yeshua. I myself went through a personal experience of tefillah, and I think that's what inspired me. I had a son that was sick, Baruch Hashem, that he had a refuah shlema quite a number of years ago. And to all the gedolim that we went to brachas, they all said, daven, daven. Rabbi Leib Steinman held us, he said, the Gemara is maftiach, that you say, Amen Yehesh Me'irav B'chol Kavanotoi, is current like Zadin Shashim Shana. And he looked at him and he said, this is the Eitzah. Rabbi say, you gotta believe, you gotta daven. And Mitzvah Hashem, Machazuk HaTfilas, and Machazuk HaTfilas of those around us will be an inspiration and a nachas ruach. And Mitzvah Hashem, we'll see the Gula Shlema B'Karav. Amen.